It has been nearly 4 months since a fire destroyed a crucial bridge on the Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad. The wooden trestle was part of a future expansion that would restore freight and passenger service to Morton, bringing a big economic boost to the small town in Lewis County. In the months following the fire, the nonprofit that runs the tourist railroad has been working to clear the site as a first step in the rebuilding process. I'm joined by Bethan Marr with the Western Forest Industries Museum. Thanks for speaking with us, Bethan.
We appreciate the opportunity.
So since this fire broke out, I'm hearing that you're getting a lot of community support. How much has been raised so far?
We're currently at around $216,000, which has been fantastic. Obviously, it's a drop in the bucket towards the total cost of the rebuild. However, the cleanup is significant. So this is helping us to fund all of those necessary activities, as well as do some initial work towards what a rebuild would like in terms of engineering and those things.
Right, and as you mentioned, you know, the recovery process seems monumental. You actually had to build a road to the site. So talk a little bit about that and what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced so far with that?
Sure. The geography that the railroad trestle was in is sort of very challenging. It's in a remote location. So the only really way to access the trestle was via the railroad. So we've had to construct roads leading into the base of the trestle, and we've had help from Giliardi Logging and Construction, as well as Ascent Demolition, two really great community-minded companies, to help us start tearing this thing down in a responsible and safe manner.
What would be the next steps, and how long do you think the whole thing will take?
Sure. The next steps at this point are going to be removing the debris on site that has been taken down because it is railroad infrastructure. It's all treated with creosote. It's considered toxic and hazardous waste, so it needs to be properly disposed of. So that's going to be a number of truckloads and dump trucks that need to be loaded in fairly narrow logging roads and up some serious grades. So the debris removal itself will be a fairly technical process, and then we need to go through a proper disposal process. Of course, at that point, we will begin surveying and doing some geotechnical work to determine the sub-base for reconstruction and what those engineering efforts look like.
Well, if people aren't familiar with the services there and why you're fighting for this, your nonprofit has been fighting for this for years, but for people unfamiliar, why should they care about what's going on over there?
Sure. I mean, we are a nonprofit. We're a tourist railroad. The primary bulk of what we do is run steam train excursions, and we are still operational. We would love for folks to come out and see what we do for themselves. We are operating on the infrastructure that really the communities were developed around. The railroads and logging on the West Coast have a sort of colorful and storied history. Not all of it is pretty, but we try and share that history in a very authentic way. And we try and, we teach skills, we teach trades to kids. We do historic preservation and economic development with the rural communities through which we're running. So we really look at this as a community railroad. It's something that benefits sort of rural economies. It creates jobs. And at the same time, we're preserving the history of the people that lived alongside and worked on the railroad, and that history is tied to the rest of the history of our area, our state, and the environment through which we run.
Yeah, so Bethan, real quick, how can people help? What's the best way?
Yeah, we would love for you to obviously visit our webpage, MountRainierRailroad.com, and look at our social media pages, as follow what we're doing on social media at Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, actually. We post regular updates so folks can engage with what we're doing, our programming, as well as our efforts to rebuild the trestle.
All right, Bethan, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.